question, the member for Ottawa West McKeon.
Thank you, Speaker. Last week we learned from the Commission hearings in Ottawa that while the Premier was busy hiding from his political responsibilities, the occupation of our city forced kids with cancer to miss chemo and radiation treatments at CHEO. Families of sick children were also forced to pay out of pocket for hotel rooms to ensure they weren't late for surgery. This was a crisis, Speaker, and the Commission wants to ask the Premier what solutions he had in mind to address it. Ottawa residents want to know too. Is the Premier fighting the summons so he doesn't have to admit he had no plan?
Government House Leader.
Just the opposite, Mr. Speaker. As I've said on a number of occasions, of course, we are assisting the Commission. We are assisting the Commission after the federal government, the Prime Minister, decided to invoke the Federal Emergencies Act. Now, of course, no government has ever utilize the Federal Emergencies Act, but by the terms of the Act which was brought in, a Federal Commission of Inquiry has to be invoked so that they can ascertain whether the use of the Emergencies Act by the federal government was appropriate at the time. Now, in doing so, Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that we've ensured that the Commissioner of the OPP, that OPP officials are present to assist the Commission in doing its work, because ultimately this was a policing matter. The member should know that the Ontario government does not direct its police and how to undertake its activities. That is why the Commission is investigating. That is why they brought forward the Commissioner of the OPP. That is why we are providing the Deputy Solicitor General. That's why we are providing the Deputy Minister of Transportation. And that is why we are assisting by proactively sending important Cabinet documents to the Commission so that it can help in doing its work.
Supplementary question.
Kids missing chemo treatments isn't just a police matter, Speaker. It's a crisis, and it's a crisis that the Premier had no plan to address. Yeah. Workers in Ottawa lost thousands of dollars in income because the occupation shut their workplaces down for 28 days. They used up all their savings, struggled to pay rent, had cell phones cut off, and defaulted on student loan payments. One of the questions the Commission wants to ask the Premier is why he wouldn't attend tripart meetings on the situation. And guess what, Speaker? Ottawa residents want to know that too. Why does the Premier think he doesn't owe Ottawa workers any answers? Kids missing chemo, workers without income, and the Premier doesn't think he needs to offer any answers. The occupiers harassed school children and their parents and threatened to drive circles around local elementary schools. They trapped people with disabilities in their homes, preventing paratranspo from getting downtown. They took food from a homeless shelter. The Commission wants to know why the Premier waited until February 11 to declare a provincial emergency. Stop me if you've heard this one before, Speaker, but Ottawa residents want to know that too. So will the Premier quit hiding, come to Ottawa and testify, and give Ottawa residents the answers we deserve?